Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat Nook choo. On the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo. Hop on the Chat Nook. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat Nook choo. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat. Hop on the Chat.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Chat Nook. How's everybody doing? I'm Christine Deaton and thank you for being here today. I know we weren't here the last couple of weeks, but we've had so much going on. And we were trying to rearrange the show because of a show that I'm doing and all this stuff. But it turns out that the show, we've changed the time of the rehearsal, so it all worked out. So we're back. Hello. And it's Sunday and it's 2 o'clock here in Missouri. And we hope that everybody is doing well. Got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to, as we've been doing since the end of January, February 1st, where we talk about Nancy Guthrie. I'm going to start with that. And, it seems like there's nothing happening, nothing going on, but that's not true. So a couple of things just to bring up, just to update. This has been going on for 4 months now. Obviously, they still haven't found Nancy dead or alive. They don't know. They still don't have the perpetrator. But here's what's being said, that there are new sets of eyes on this. I don't know what that means, but all it means basically is that it's not a closed case, that it's not cold, it's that it's still being investigated probably 24/7, and that there are new eyes looking at this. So what does that mean? Are there more FBI? I don't know what that means, but I know that the case is absolutely not closed and that they are working every single day on trying to solve this incredible mystery. They have more surveillance footage from inside the house and outside the house, and it seems that they are inching their way to finding out what happened. Okay, I think it'll happen. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be a month or two, but they are literally bringing in every resource, including AI, to solve this horrific thing. So if you don't know about Nancy Guthrie, just look it up real quick. I mean, it's been out in the news for so long now that I'm not going to go back through everything, but it's quite the mystery. It's just an unbelievable case, and so it's something to really look at. It's something to be interested in, because honestly, when you kidnap an 84-year-old woman, it could have been anybody. It could have been your family, my family, it could have been anybody. So it really kind of hits home. So check it out and see what the story is all about if you're not familiar with it. And know that it's not solved yet, but they truly are working on this phenomenal case. So that's what I'm going to leave you with that. Now, probably, I don't know, a month ago or so, I talked about Aaron Spencer. Now, Aaron Spencer is the father of, before we get into what my subject is really today, I want to touch on some news things. That's why I'm doing this. So this was the guy from Lonoke County. What state is that? Look that up for me, if you will. Lonoke, Lonoke County. I think it's Arkansas. I'm pretty sure it's Arkansas. Anyway, so this father, okay, now this guy at that time, when this event is happening, he's running for sheriff of Lonoke County. It is Arkansas. And his daughter, 13-year-old daughter, was basically kidnapped by a 67-year-old man, Michael. Now let me find his name for you, because we want this name to go down in history. Michael Fossler. a 67-year-old guy. He takes this guy's 13-year-old daughter. He actually has a child in his truck and driving away with her, and somehow Dad Aaron Spencer finds out about this, tracks the guy down, and there's an altercation, and he winds up killing the guy who took his daughter. Now, is there something wrong with that? You got to think about, this country, we're not supposed to be an eye for an eye, and in the Bible, eye for an eye and all that stuff. But, what would you do if this 67-year-old man had just taken your 13-year-old daughter in his car, and he's going to do things? Now, how do they know he's going to do crazy things? Because guess what? This guy at that time was out of prison for sexual assault on the same kid. Okay? And God knows how many more there. At 67 years old, you've got a long history on the other side of you. And God knows how many children he perpetrated. The guy's now dead. Good. Bye-bye. Good riddance. He's in hell, right? We all know that. He didn't go to heaven. But anyway, but recently, just a few days ago, here's the fabulous part of his story. Besides the fact that this guy's long gone and he can't hurt any more children, the Aaron Spencer, the dad, he's the Republican in the primary for sheriff, not until November, but the judge there he was acquitted of all charges. So I think that's yeehaw. So now, the great thing about all of this, is that for running for the Republican seat for the sheriff in November, his campaign, the whole campaign, is focusing on fixing a failed judicial system or justice system. He wants to dedicate an investigative unit in his area for specifically handling child sexual and grooming cases. So I say, great for him, and I hope he becomes the sheriff. Okay. The other thing in the news right now, this just barely happened, so we'll definitely watch this story. 4-year-old nonverbal autistic boy disappears from his house, and he is found dead. And this is in Geary County, Kansas. Just happened, like within a couple of days, a day or two ago. So we will be watching the poor little baby's name was Axel. And so we're going to be watching the story of Axel and what the heck happened. Why did he disappear from his home? We don't know, but we're going to find out. Okay, we're going to find out. If there's any mystery to this, anything suspicious to this, we don't know. But here he is, a 4-year-old little nonverbal autistic boy, and he's found dead. So, God help that poor little guy. Okay. Now, a lot of you know, who have been watching my podcast, know that I have had some illness the last year and a half. Now, most of the time, I have not touched on it or explained what any of it is to any of you, because it's just, it's one of those things where I know what I'm going through, hubby knows what I'm going through, family knows what I'm going through, and some friends, but not everybody does, and sometimes you think people don't need to know. But I am going to explain to you what has gone on because of something that I'm finding out, okay? Something that I think should spark an interest, maybe in you or somebody you know. So I'm going to go through this and explain what I'm talking about. Okay, so in December of 24, and I'm going to try to recap this, but very quickly, I got really, really, really sick. Very, very sick. I have Meniere's disease. I've had it for over 40 years. It was like drop attack, one after another, and it left me completely incapacitated. Like I had no equilibrium. Meniere's disease has to do with your equilibrium and vertigo, and I mean, it's just there's so much to it. It would take the whole show to just explain what Meniere's disease is. But I've had it. I was diagnosed in like 1983, so I've had it a long time. Stage 4 now, and whatever. And I've learned to live with that. But when I got sick in December of 24, it seemed like things were different and things changed for me. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that my body felt very different. So now, December, January, February, March, and April, about the middle of April of 2025, I start like not feeling weird. I started feeling weird. I wasn't sure what. And one day I got up to go to the restroom, and walking down the hall, I felt some weird thing in my legs and couldn't figure out what that was. I knew it felt strange. It was in both legs, almost like mirrored where it happened and the whole bit. So I came back out, told my husband about it, and so about a week later, my legs are still feeling kind of weird, and I started to feel like a heaviness in my feet, and I couldn't figure out what the heck that was. Well, it didn't take very long before that heaviness started to kind of crawl up my leg. Now it's at like my ankles. Now it's coming up my half my calf, and it's working its way up. And I'm like, something's wrong here. Something's totally wrong. And it just felt like somebody kept like putting little cement, like if my legs were tubes, they kept filling up my legs or these tubes with cement, and they felt heavier, like I was dragging them. Went to the doctor. She wasn't sure what the heck it was, and she said, let's get you to physical therapy. I did 12 weeks of physical therapy. Not only wasn't I better, but now this heaviness is up past my knees. We can't figure it out. So I go back to the doctor, and she's like, maybe you need to go to a neurologist. We go to a neurologist. We go to another neurologist. We go to a neurosurgeon. I mean, I've had tests for a year and a half. I've had blood work. I've had x-rays. I've had CAT scans. I've had 5 MRIs. I've had so many tests, I don't know what's left as far as that goes. They were testing me for, let me read some of the things they were testing me for. ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, like muscular dystrophy, myasthenia gravis, multiple sclerosis. They were testing me for some heavy-duty, life-changing, going to wind up in a wheelchair kind of a thing. And I remember being in physical therapy telling the therapist, I don't want to wind up in a wheelchair. I just don't want to wind up in a wheelchair. Hi, Georgia. I see you out there. Hi, Elizabeth. I see you out there. Thanks for joining me. Anyway, after a year and a half of testing, and I've had to go to St. Louis. I've been in Springfield. I've been kind of all over the place. Doctors, tests. There's still no definitive. This is a year and a half, more than a year and a half out, and there's still no definitive diagnosis. So, what does this mean? I know there's something wrong, and now the heaviness in my legs is all the way up to like my thighs. Okay, but all the big things that they thought it was, they really thought it was, it's not any of those things. Okay, so growing up, I always had a lot of issues with like herpes simplex, which is like fever blisters. I always had like sores on my mouth and sores by my nose. I think every elementary school picture that I ever had, I had some kind of a sore on my face because I was very prone to those kinds of things, which it is. It's a virus. It's a virus. So from the time I was a kid, I had viral problems, viral loads. And so then growing up, I started to have weird things happen. So about 25 years ago, I woke up one morning and I had like this thing on my arm. It looked weird. Didn't think anything about it. I thought that maybe I'd gotten bitten by something. The next morning, I have like a couple little canker sores in my mouth. Within a few days, I've got hundreds of sores in my mouth, and I have these things all over me. Okay, something's wrong. So go to the doctor. She had no idea at the time what this was. She had never seen anything like it. Plus the pain in my mouth was so severe I could barely talk. You know when you have one canker sore, but this was like in the back of my throat, all over my mouth, on my tongue. It was everywhere. It was one of the most painful things I've ever been through in my life. And so she said, I'm sending you to a dermatologist. We go to the dermatologist. She walks in. She looks at my sores, and she said, you have erythema multiforme, like that quick. I said, okay, what is that? Well, it's a virus. Okay, here comes that virus again. And she says, am I going to die from this? No, you're not going to die. But she said that the problem that happens with this. Hello, how are you? Hope, thank you for joining us today. Hey, stay tuned because what I'm talking about right now has to do with health, your health, everybody's health, and what I'm finding out. And so I want everybody to listen, and I want everybody to spread the word on this. This is why I'm talking about this today. It's about your health, my health, and advocacy, okay? So she says it's erythema multiforme, which is a virus. So she started me on acyclovir. I had to take acyclovir for a year. 1 year, I remember taking acyclovir. I had a big giant jar, and I took them. And I said, what is this? Well, it's a viral thing, and it will go away eventually, especially if you're on the acyclovir, because that's like an
antiviral.
An antiviral medication. And eventually, it did go away, except that I had lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat. The pain in my mouth, I could barely talk. I could barely move my mouth. I remember it being so painful that I thought I was going to die. And she said, there are people who have died from this, which you think, I don't want to hear that. But it's people that just can't eat, won't eat. And I'll tell you, eating was very difficult because of the pain. Anyway, I did lose a lot of weight. I remember it was a horrible time. And eventually, it took a long time. I'm talking maybe 2-3 months of this. But it went away. So, okay. So that's another viral load. That's a major viral load, okay? I've had sores between then and stuff, so I know that I constantly carry some kind of a viral thing in my body, right? So about 3 years ago now, keep moving forward. Now remember all my other medical stuff that's going on right now, right? About 3 years ago, I got this, and I don't know if you can see, I've got like a kind of a red, itchy looking rash right there. And about 3 years ago, I developed this very red, almost like it looked like it was so irritated. It was just so red and so irritated looking. And it was more than itchy, it was like a painful itch, and it felt like underneath my skin were 1,000 little like cactus needles. That's what it felt like. So again, go to the doctor, and he's like, I kind of think I know what this is, but we need to biopsy your skin. By this time, the rash is on both forearms, and the pain and the itch is driving me crazy. So he does a biopsy. He takes a chunk of my skin out of right here by my elbow, and about a week later, he calls me and he says, come on in. I go in. He says, you have spongiotic dermatitis. Well, what is that? Well, shock, it's a viral thing, again, and there's no cure for it. You probably will have it the rest of your life, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Nothing you can do for it. He did give me a steroid cream when it gets bad enough, which I've been using lately because I've got another flare-up. And so he gives me this triamcinolone is what it's called. And it's a when it gets to a point, I have to use this this cream, otherwise nothing controls it. And what's weird about it is that you could literally see if it starts here, it actually works its way around my arm. Like you could actually see where it's the craziest thing. So, and I get flare-ups a lot. So here's another viral load, right? So now I'm still not doing well. I am not doing well. I'm sick. I can't get enough sleep. And mind you, I'm not one of these people that if I'm not feeling well, I lay on the couch. I've never been that way. I don't care how sick I am. Even when I was going through my stuff right at the beginning of all this, I am not one to just, I gotta go lay down. No, because I do the opposite. I'm fighting, and that's what I do. But I was getting to a point where, man, I'm so tired, I can barely function. And I would tell, and my family knows, if I'm laying on that couch in the middle of the day, you know I'm not well, okay? So I was not feeling well enough that I go back to my doctor. And he's been very aggressive to try to help me figure out what's happened to my body. Now understand that from the time that I got sick in December of 24, I have lost 25 pounds. I've lost hair. The top of my head is bald. I've lost teeth. I've lost a toenail. And nobody can figure this out. Nobody can figure this out. It's a big mystery. Who knows? No answers. Nobody knows. So he said to me, well, last time I went in, I had a laundry list of, okay, so now I've got this, and now I've got this, and now I've got this, and I've got this. And he joked about it. He said, I'm going to have to charge you double time because, you know, and he laughed about it, but I'm like, sorry, doc, but this is what's going on. So I could see him thinking, this is probably going back maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Again, guys, hang in there because I'm giving you information that I'm finding out myself, okay? And I think it's very important and it's crucial. And I see him looking through my notes, and he's very, very into AI diagnoses because he says in AI, there's no bias, no medicine companies sponsoring it, there's no doctors sponsoring it, it's just information. It's just information. And if you want to know how to diagnose, you can do that with yourself. You can say, I've got this, this, and this right now, and go to AI, and it'll kind of sort of diagnose you. It'll kind of give you an idea of what's going on. So he's looking through my records. I see him doing the AI thing, and he said to me, have you had COVID? I said, I've had COVID 4 times. He said, when was the last time you had COVID? And I had to think a minute. I said, well, it was the end of December, early October 2024. And remember, I got sick in December. I got the big thing. The big party happened December, mid-December. And he said, uh-huh. And he's looking, and he's doing more research and stuff, and he said, you know, he said, there's this new thing, he said, and we're finding out that more and more people who have had COVID are kind of left with this residual viral load, okay, residual viral load, and it's called, now I'm going to get this name, I'm going to get it right, hopefully. It's called, the initials are MECFS. MECFS. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. I think I got that. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, 40 years ago, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Again, viral. Everything in me has some kind of viral something, okay? So now we've got this MECFS. And I said, well, what is that? And he said, everything that you're describing sounds like what we are now research and bringing in, information and all this stuff. It sounds like this MECFS, myalgic encephalomyelitis chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay. He says everything that you're talking about fits into this thing, what people have been left with after COVID. So we leave that day, and I have to be honest and say I kind of blew it off, because there are doctors who believe in fibromyalgia, and some doctors, if you go in and say I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, they're going to go, oh, okay, there's no such thing, it's a big farce, it's a big fake. And I mean, I don't know if it's a real thing or not, thank God I don't have that, but there are people that swear that they have fibromyalgia because of whatever their symptoms are. But there are a lot of doctors. I mean, my husband works with doctors. He's worked with doctors for years that know, there are many of them that think that fibromyalgia is just a way to say you don't feel good. It's a label to put on something. And so I honestly, when he said this MECFS, I kind of went, okay, anyway. So, but I started to do, hello dear, hi Amber, I'll see you about 5 o'clock, girl. So, okay, so I'm thinking, all right, well, let me at least look into this. Let me not just, put it to the back burner. Let me see what this is, and if it even resembles what's going on with me. So, here it is. MECFS is a complex, disabling biological illness that causes extreme, unrelenting fatigue, check, profoundly impacts the nervous, immune, and energy metabolism systems, check, severely impacts a person's daily life, check, and ability to function, check. Now there's so much more to it, so much more to it. Let me give you some of the other things, okay? Cognitive dysfunction. I find myself, now, see, that's the thing, is there's some crossover things with Meniere's disease, but cognitive dysfunction for me has changed in the fact that sometimes when people are talking to me or I have information coming in, I'm not processing it like I did. Now that could also come from the deafness that I'm having and the tinnitus that I'm having from Meniere's disease. I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't know if it's this or I don't know if it's this. But I do know that I have noticed a tremendous difference in processing cognitive things. Absolutely. Sleep issues where you never feel resting. So check. I'm going to check my list. Check, check. Dizziness. Here again. Dizziness is part of Meniere's disease, but this is different. So I'm going to say check on the dizziness. Lightheadedness. That is not a thing for Meniere's. And I have absolutely been experiencing lightheadedness. Man, that is one thing, I'll tell you what, that could drive me crazy. I mean, the lightheadedness makes me crazy. Heart palpitations. Oh, not very long ago, I had to wear a, a Holter monitor for 2 weeks because I'm having heart palpitations. Check. Muscle, joint pain. Check. Check. Headaches. I'm getting what they call silent vestibular migraines. What that means is I get all the sensation of migraines, no headache, no pain. Check. And I can't tell you how many times I've said to my husband, "Ooh, I think I'm coming down with the flu." And then a couple of hours later that night, next day, no flu. That happens more than I can tell you. So all of these things, I'm like, maybe there is something to this MECFS. Maybe there's something to this. I don't know. But everything is kind of falling into place. So even though there's no definitive test at this point, or no biomarker, the diagnosis, it relies on the comprehensive medical history, which my doctor has now, physical exam, and ruling other things out. So all these big things, they've ruled out. What am I left with? All these things that I'm talking about. And the other thing to know is that everything's a la carte. Some moments I'm feeling this one and this one and this one, and the next minute I'm feeling this, and this. It's a la carte. It's every day. Every moment is different, and it's exhausting. It is utterly exhausting. So you must typically, to be diagnosed with this also, you must typically have been experiencing these symptoms for at least 6 months. I think that might be the time frame of if you've had COVID and then like all this time you're having these weird, all these symptoms that I talked about. It's possible you've got this new thing. The exact cause is unknown, except that it's viral. Okay? And now, everybody, this is why I'm bringing it to you, is because more people than not are turning up with this MECFS, this kind of residual viral load that happened from COVID. I said, people need to know about this because as far as that goes, the research on it is fairly new, but they know enough now to say, you know what? We're getting people in from all over saying that they've got this, that they didn't have before. What is this? And it has a name. That's what my doctor was trying to tell me. There really is a syndrome now. It has a name. We know what it is. We know that it's from the viral load of COVID. And maybe this is what you have. So, here's the other part of that. There is no cure. There is no FDA-approved medication. Treatment is focused on treating the symptoms as they come, which often includes like pacing your daily activities to avoid a physical crash. Because I can tell you that happens, where you just get so, because remember, part of it is chronic fatigue syndrome. It's exhausting. And I always tell my husband, I'm so tired. I don't care what I do. I don't care what I do. Even if I do a little bit of housework or a lot of housework, I am physically exhausted, like I've worked in the fields all day long in the heat. It is that exhausting. So I thought, I really felt like it was important to let you guys know out there what this is, that this is real, that I'm trying to inform everyone as I learn what this is, because maybe you are experiencing the same kind of thing, or you know somebody who's been ill and can do this check mark thing and say, you can look up, I'll give you the name again, and I have to look at it. Okay, myalgic encephalomyelitis, that's a big long word, chronic fatigue syndrome, MECFS. If you look up MECFS, it'll pop right up, and you're going to see all the things that this is, all the things that you can do a check mark to, and all the things that this is and what it does to you. So for me, it doesn't surprise me that I have this viral thing, if that's what it is. There's really no way to say, except that my doctor's the one that said to me, I think you have this. And even though I blew it off, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's right. Now, how? About 2 weeks ago, you're watching that doctor. So Chris watches doctor podcasts all the time. You know, he's in the medical industry. He watches stuff like this. And he sees they're doing a podcast on MECFS. Okay? Now, the only reason you would really do that is because it's a thing. So you can tell them about what you found out about it.
Well, it really just reinforced most of what you have talked about, in that it is obviously viral based. It is
Right.
what they're considering often now a part of long COVID. When they talk about long COVID,
I didn't know that. Long COVID?
Yeah,
Okay.
there can be
write that down.
different people experience long COVID in different ways, but this is very much a part of
Okay.
whether it is the MECFS directly as a result of long COVID,
Right.
or an overlap of symptoms that could fall into several different diagnostic categories, but they all kind of fit that
Fit
same
together,
area.
right, yeah.
So,
Right.
but again, the obvious, in the name, the chronic fatigue
Right.
that goes with that.
It's unbelievable.
There are things, other things that you haven't even mentioned that you've
Oh, well,
experienced
good.
too.
Because I knew I was going to
with-
forget some stuff, so you can tell them.
with what we call orthostatic changes, where you experience dizziness
Well,
and
I did talk about that.
palpitations
Did talk about that.
with position change.
Position,
and
yes.
again, there's an
And
overlap
lightheadedness.
and lightheadedness.
Right.
And as you have also mentioned, those silent vestibular migraines that you're talking about, and all of those things overlap. In your case, it's particularly interesting because you get an overlap between the MECFS and the Meniere's disease,
Meniere's,
many of those things. And
Right.
so we know the Meniere's disease, you've been carrying
For 40
that
something
for,
years.
yes,
40,
for
43.
many
43 years. Yeah.
And now there's this change
Right.
that seems to fall in line with
Yes.
an MECFS diagnosis that would exacerbate.
You see what Amber's saying? That's exactly why I'm doing this. Thanks for sharing this. I feel like my mom may be suffering from this as well. I'm telling you guys, listen to what I'm telling you. This is real. It is real. It is a residual of, and what Chris was saying, it's called long COVID. It's like a continuation of COVID. And the thing is, when I did have COVID at the end of, like October-ish of 24, okay, I was sick. I mean, that was my fourth bout with it. The first three were okay. I mean, it literally felt like a bad flu. You know what I mean? It really did. It was like, yeah, of course I felt sick and I did lay down and, stuff like that. But the fourth time was bad enough that I did wind up in the hospital. Not an overnight stay, but I had to go to the ER because I was so ill that I thought, I'm going to die here. And I mean, that's how sick I was. And trust me, as much as I've been in the hospital, the ERs and all that, I do not like going to doctors or hospitals. You know why? Because then I know I'm going to have to get tests and I know I'm going to have to get medication. And I want nothing to do with it. So for me to go, something's wrong. Okay, that's the only time I'm going to go, is when I know there's no turning back, I've got to go. So that fourth bout with COVID was so bad that I truly said, if I don't go get help, I'm going to die. That's how sick I was. I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. I was very, very, very ill. And so from that last bout of it, I'm thinking when it finally went away, that it went away. But it didn't. Because now this long COVID, which I'm learning, sets in and has left me with major symptoms, daily symptoms, exhausting symptoms. I mean, I can't tell you how I guess the biggest thing I want to get out there is how much it's changed my life. And that's one of the things it says, is that it really is a life-changing kind of thing, and there's no cure for this. So you just have to treat the symptoms. Now, does that mean that there'll never be medication for this? I'm probably not going to take it anyway, because it's just how I am. But it means that for a long time, I'm going to deal with this. I felt it was so important. I'm like, if I have it and the doctor is saying to me, this is something. It's a residual. People are coming forward and saying, man, I've got this and I got this and I can't. And he said, and if you put that all in like a little nutshell, it's like all of a sudden people are going, oh my gosh, that's exactly what, so-and-so's and so-and-so. We already have one person on here saying, you know what, that sounds like my mom. I'm telling you, it's real. It's real. Now, have I been officially diagnosed? I think if it were up to my doctor, he would officially diagnose me. But I haven't gone to him and said, okay, is this what I have? 'Cause I think he would probably say yes, because he's the one who brought it up to begin with. But I haven't done that yet, so I'm not going to tell you, well, I'm officially diagnosed with MECFS. I'm not going to say that because I haven't done that. But I'll tell you what, between my own research, the doctor's research to begin with, and what Chris saw on the doctor podcast, I am pretty sure this is what I'm dealing with. And I felt it was urgent to get this information out there so that if anybody is suffering with this kind of stuff, you might bring it up to your doctor and find out if this is possible, that this is something that you have. So I thought it was really important.
Absolutely.
It's
And
really
I'll tell you the other interesting thing too, with the CFS, or the chronic fatigue syndrome side of this diagnosis, traditionally chronic fatigue syndrome was directly related to the Epstein-Barr virus. And when you were originally diagnosed years ago,
right, it was Epstein-Barr.
It was Epstein-Barr.
Right.
Now,
that's another viral, the Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue. I was diagnosed with that. That's what I said. I've always had this mega viral load in my body. I just have.
And having had Epstein-Barr chronic fatigue syndrome doesn't necessarily mean that you will get this MECFS,
right.
But I believe it lowers your threshold for that potential set of symptoms,
right,
when you come in contact with these other viruses later on. And I think that's where the tie-in. COVID was a unique animal in that it affected different people. It affected people in so many different ways, and one person's set of symptoms didn't always match somebody else's.
Yes.
But we know that it has left millions, including some of the doctors that I've listened to on these shows,
right,
with symptoms of their own that have been diagnosed as long COVID symptoms.
Really?
Yes.
So remember, long COVID, L-O-N-G, long COVID, and MECFS. Just look it up. Amber, you're saying, do you have to have all the symptoms you mentioned? No, absolutely not. It truly is. They give you, if you look up MECFS, they give you this long list of the things that like constantly like happen or reoccur, or this, and just look it up, because if your mom, you're talking about your mom possibly having it, I mean, she may have 5 of 10 or whatever it is, but it's definitely worth looking into. It's real, and it's out there, and it's not one of these like okay. Well, I did that. I really was like in denial and said, oh, you know what, I got enough to worry about with my legs and stuff like that, because we still haven't resolved my leg thing and everything. Now, I don't know if my leg stuff has anything to do with this, because I don't know. Even though you have muscle issues and joint issues, I don't know if the cement feeling in my legs has anything to do with that, because they did find that I have major damage to my, what is it, the L something or other, like the bottom, the base of my spine.
Lumbosacral.
have
Motorcycle, yeah.
major problems. So I'm thinking that's probably it. The other thing is that in my illnesses, and when I was going through all these MRIs, they found the last time we did an MRI, where they found all the nerve damage and stuff in the plexus and all that stuff in the bottom of your spine, I have about 50, they're called Tarlov cysts, and the Tarlov cysts are on the, if you look at your spine, and then it's got these little, they almost look like little tiny branches sticking out from your spine. At the end of, from the top of my spine to the bottom, I have what they call Tarlov cysts at the end of these, the nerve endings. And so that's another problem. So, you know, I just got all of these things going on, and sometimes they crisscross for me, and I don't know what's what, but, you know, I think that a big part of this puzzle is this MECFS, because it does check. So I really felt that, because Chris asked me, so what are you going to talk about today? And I said, I'm going to talk about my so-called illness, if that's what this is, because I think it's important, because if this is a real thing that's happened from COVID, now long COVID, people need to know. You just need to know. I don't want this to be a mystery anymore. I want it to be like, oh, that's what I have. No wonder I'm exhausted. No wonder I'm having, you know, like kind of vision problem. No wonder I'm having a headache. No wonder I have joint pain. No wonder I'm, you know, so exhausted I want to sleep. You know, all these things, and it just makes sense. So I hope, Amber, yes, dive into it, see what you can find out, and just do the check thing, kind of like, Mom, do you have this? Do you experience this? And find out, and have her go to the doctor and talk about this with them, because, like I said, I didn't make that up. My doctor's the one who brought it to my attention, and when he did the AI thing, which we've done too, we've AI'd things, and it comes up MECFS. It is a very real thing. It's a residual of COVID, long COVID, and it's, people just don't know. So here I am, personally experiencing this, and I thought it was important to tell people that this is real, and this is what's happening, and this is what's happening to a lot of people from the virus. This is so interesting. Thanks for sharing. I love your investigative mind to determine. I am always wanting to. What is the rest of that say,
find
Georgia?
out as much as I can. She always wants to find out as much as she
So,
can.
Georgia, thank you so much. And yes, I do have an investigative mind, but I'll tell you what. Most of this now in my life comes from trying to figure out my physical puzzle, because it has been going on for over 1.5 years, and literally to this moment, with everything that I've been through, and I have been through so much, I look back and I think, how did I get through it all? But you just persevere. I want an answer, and just very recently is this thing popping up that makes perfect sense, and all the pieces for that is coming together. All the things that I have said, I don't know why I'm so lightheaded, right? I can't stand this lightheadedness. It's driving me crazy. I've never had this before, because lightheaded is not a thing of Meniere's. It's not. It's never been. I've had it for 43 years, and I've never had issues with being lightheaded.
It's more of a true vertigo
right. It's
situation.
And
or
I've
imbalance.
never had that until recently. I've had to get, you know, the heart monitor on for 2 weeks. I've got things now that I'm like, why am I getting this and this and this and this and this? And the doctor says, you know, this is what it sounds like. So I thank him for bringing it to my attention, and then doing the research myself. And AI is a great tool for diagnosing things, helping diagnose. and Chris listening to the podcast, he's always trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I mean, in all kinds of ways, but physically, he's always trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And what the heck happened to my body? I've often said, where did I go? Because that person that was working full time a year and a half ago in my own restaurant, no longer here physically. So, you know, it has caused a lot of changes in my life. And I just said, if that's what this is, if that's what this truly is, I need to tell people, because we don't know. This is it honestly is fairly new. Well, have some of these things going on, and I've had COVID 4 times, but I chalked it up to menopause. I'm saying, you know, Amber, it could be menopause too, because menopause causes a bunch of crap. But do the checklist for yourself too. Just do it and see if you check off several of those things, and it might just be something to bring up to your doctor. So don't just say it's menopause, because it could be this.
Well, and she says at the end of that comment too that her mom is really struggling, and of course we wish you the best for your mom too.
I would love to talk to her, because I mean, I've been going through this now for a year and a half. So it's, you know, it's not that I'm an expert, but I know what I've been dealing with, and I know what it has done to me. I mean, Amber, you knew me before I got ill. I was never a big person, but I weighed about 25 pounds more than I do now. I didn't go on a diet. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to just lose 25 pounds. No. At my heaviest in the last, 30 years of my life, I was about 135, 137. And I've just, without even noticing really, all of a sudden, I'm just dropping weight. Then, my hair fell out, and my teeth have all gotten loose and falling out. I mean, I have had so many crazy things that I'm like, what is this? And now you're finding out, oh my gosh, is that what this is? So you guys, if this has helped in any way, I hope it's just maybe brought something to your table that you can just at least bring it up with your doctor. And I want to thank Dr. Mabe, because he was the one that told me about it. He's the first one that said, I think this is what you have. Chris has done his research, and he says the same. He said, you are just like the poster child of this. And so I'm starting to believe that that's what I have. And so there it is. Now, I will bring one good thing to the table. I said I want to end this with like good news, because the thing is, MECFS, it's no cure. It's just you deal with the symptoms, which I do. And a lot of times, everybody, when you know what it is, you can deal with it better. The unknown is what makes things so difficult. But if you know what it is, and you know that these are transient symptoms, you can deal with that. I've been doing that for a year and a half. But I wanted to end with like some good news that the UK is doing. They have this National Cancer Plan. Okay, they are committing to 75%. Now, it's not tomorrow. I'm going to tell you what the timeline is for this. But they are committing to 75% of cancer patients being cancer-free. And with this, whatever their new treatment is, it's all in the works right now. It's not going to start, okay, till it's going to take, the research is going to finish in 2035, which is still out there, okay, 2035. But they're saying that they will be able to cure 75% of cancer. So that's pretty amazing. And I don't think they could say stuff like that if it wasn't, like out there. They're doing the research. It's the National Cancer Plan from the UK. So, and we all know that they work on there's research being done every day for illnesses and stuff, and so this is to me very good news that maybe 75% of cancer patients will be cured, and they're not saying maybe cured, they're saying 75% will be cured, but it's not going to happen until 2035. So there you go. So let's see. Thanks, Amber. I mean, yes, I've been through what I want to say hell and back, but I'm not back, but I'm as back as I can be. But it has been hard, I'm not going to lie. It's been very hard, but recently I was telling my family, I said, I've always been, not when I was a kid, not when I was a teen, I was a very meek, kind of a mild kid. I was always a very good kid, like a model student and all that stuff. But as I got older, I became, tough. Or I don't even know if I want to say that. In other words, I defended myself against wrong things in my life. And I became pretty strong. And I became strong, but that was almost a part of my personality that I didn't like very much. But now, moving forward to now, I'm 66 years old and I'm dealing with a lot. I understand God making me that person, because a weak person would not be able to get through this. I know even on my Meniere's websites, there are people that have, done away with themselves because they just couldn't take it. And I thank God that I was never that person, that He gave me this fight in my soul that makes me go, today's a horrible day, it's rough, but oh well. And so here I am. And so putting that out there, so whatever you've got going on, it's just, we have it's almost like a minuscule time on the planet. We just need to do whatever we can to be here and be brave and be strong and try to be healthy and do the things we can to stay alive and to be with our families and love the people we love and take care of the people. And so if this is helping take care of you and a family member or a friend who maybe is dealing with this, because folks, this is real, then holy cow, that's a good day. So, okay, you guys, thank you for being here today. We'll be back next Sunday at 2 o'clock. And love and miss you guys. I don't miss you, but I did miss you because we were gone for, I think, 2 weeks, right? So I did miss you guys. But I'm glad you were here today. And we will see you next Sunday at 2 o'clock. And love you guys that you're here. Tell people about my podcast and like and subscribe, please. And have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat Nook choo. All the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the chat. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo. Hop on the Chat Nook choo. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the Chat Nook choo. Hop on the Chat Nook choo-choo, hop on the chat.